It's time to bring you up to speed with what is happening globally. We begin with Egypt. Turkey appoints envoys to restore ties. Several evacuate Jenin as Israeli attack persists. In Thailand, Won-do appointed as speaker. U.S. condemns Hong Kong bounty for exiled activists, and Ubanas volcano triggers state of emergency in Peru. On politics, Turkey and Egypt have appointed envoys to re-establish the diplomatic relations between the two countries at the highest diplomatic level. On Tuesday, in a joint statement released by the Turkish Foreign Ministry, Cairo and Ankara said Turkey nominated Salih Mutlusen as its ambassador to Cairo, and Egypt in turn nominated Emir El-Hami as its ambassador to Ankara. The elevation of the level of diplomatic relations between the two countries was implemented in accordance with a decision taken by the presidents of the two countries, the statement said, adding that this step aims at the renormalization of relations between the two countries and reflects the mutual will to improve bilateral relations in the interest of the Turkish and Egyptian peoples. The two regional rivals, who have faced off on numerous regional fronts with their leaders verbally attacking each other publicly, entered a reconciliation process in 2020s. The regional rivals have held meetings at the ministerial level numerous times in 2023, also sending each other friendly messages and openly negotiating on re-establishing full diplomatic relations. Senior foreign ministry officials from the two sides have held talks since 2021 as Ankara launched a foreign policy initiative to repair relations with other regional powers such as the United Arab Emirates, Israel and Saudi Arabia, in addition to Egypt. Rapprochement efforts between Turkey and Egypt took a key turn after Egypt's President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi and his Turkish counterpart Tayyip Erdogan shook hands at the World Cup in Qatar in late 2022. On Monday night, several Palestinians ran out of the Jenin refugee camp in the West Bank to escape fighting as Israeli forces push ahead with a major anti-terror operation. The Palestinian Red Crescent Emergency Services Group said 3,000 people have been evacuated from the densely populated quarter of the city. There are about 3,000 people who have left the camp so far, Jenin Deputy Governor Kamal Abu al-Rub said, according to reports, adding that arrangements were being made to house them in schools and other shelters in the city of Jenin. He said about 18,000 Palestinians reside in the camp. Spokeswoman for the United Nations Agency for Palestinian Refugees, Juliet Toma, confirmed that residents of the camp were leaving. Footage released showed crowds walking out of Jenin, some moving past Israeli military vehicles. Reports from Palestine also said the military was deploying reinforcements to Jenin. A large convoy of army vehicles, including bulldozers, were seen entering the area on Monday evening. Israeli officials denied ordering an evacuation after Palestinian media said the IDF had instructed residents to leave the area. The IDF's Arabic language spokesperson Avike Andrea said the evacuation reports were baseless. Defense officials said, according to a report, that the Israel Defense Forces did not issue an evacuation order and that the Jenin residents were fleeing to escape the fighting. Hundreds of armed terrorists were holed up in the refugee camp. The officials said, stoking fears among residents they could be caught in the crossfire. Israel launched the major operation early Monday to crack down on what it says is a hotbed of terror in the city. A number of attacks on Israelis in recent years have been carried out by Palestinians from the area, and observers say the Palestinian Authority has little control on the ground. Veteran politician Wan Muhammad Nur Matha of the Praktikat Party is the Speaker of the newly elected House of Representatives, Thailand's parliament, confirmed. On Tuesday, Wan Nur's appointment was seen as a compromise between the two biggest parties and coalition partners, Move Forward and Pheu Thai, which have been at odds over the crucial post. Wan Nur's was the only name put forward for the post. As the only nomination, no vote was needed to endorse the 79-year-old politician. The compromise over the House Speaker could help to diffuse some tensions between the progressive Move Forward and the populist Pheu Thai parties, which had jostled for weeks over the speakership. The two parties had trounced their conservative and pro-military rivals in May 14 poll, with Move Forward winning 151 seats and Pheu Thai taking 141. The outcome was a resounding rejection of 9 years of government led or backed by the military, Move Forward and Pheu Thai have formed an alliance with 6 other parties, including One News Patriot Party, which has 10 seats in the lower chamber. The Speaker position was sought because the holder can influence the passage of key legislation and the timing of votes. Following his appointment, Wan Nur, who was House Speaker between 1996 and 2000, said he will strive to remain politically neutral. Now, United States, Australia and the United Kingdom have condemned the Hong Kong police over arrest warrants and bounties for 8 exiled pro-democracy activists. On Monday evening, Hong Kong police announced a payment of 1 million Hong Kong dollars, $127,600 for information leading to the capture of the 8 who are living overseas. U.S. State Department spokesperson Matthew Miller said in a statement, the extraterritorial application of the Beijing-imposed national security law is a dangerous precedent that threatens the human rights and fundamental freedoms of people all over the world. Hong Kong accuses the 8, including 3 former legislators, of collusion with foreign forces under the national security law which Beijing imposed on the territory in 2020. The 8 committed serious crimes endangering national security, advocated sanctions, undermined Hong Kong and intimidated Hong Kong officials, as well as schemed for foreign countries to undermine Hong Kong's financial status, the police alleged. Among the 8 living in the UK is Nathan Law, the youngest person ever elected to the Hong Kong's legislature, that he had been more careful as a result of the warrants. Beijing critics have already expressed alarm at the existence of suspected Chinese police stations operating in democratic countries in Europe and North America. China has said they are service centers for Chinese citizens needing help with administrative tasks such as the renewal of passports. UK Foreign Minister James Cleverly said that the arrest warrants were a further example of the authoritarian reach of China's extraterritorial law. Officials in the Peruvian government have announced they will declare a state of emergency for the area surrounding the Ubinas volcano after persistent seismic activity shook the region and sent a column of toxic gas into the air. The president of Peru's Council of Ministers, Alberto Atorola, announced on Monday that the emergency declaration was expected for the southern department of Mugua, where the volcano is located. We are taking charge of this phenomena and we are always proactively coordinating with all institutions to face them, he said. The emergency order will permit the government to take the measures necessary to avert health risk. Otarola explained already masks are being distributed as ash fills the air. About 2,000 people stand to be affected in the immediate area, Otarola said. He urged the population to remain calm. Muguegua's regional government raised the alert level on Sunday from yellow to orange to indicate heightened danger from the volcano. Ubinas is the most active volcano in the country, forming part of the Ring of Fire, an area of seismic activity that surrounds the tectonic plates underneath the Pacific Ocean. According to Geophysics Institute of Peru, IGP, the present eruption started around June 22nd. The institute recorded 402 earthquakes associated with the volcano between June 23rd and 25th. During that period of activity, a plume of ash rose nearly 1,300 meters above the volcano's peak. The National Civil Defense Institute has since advised residents to wear face masks and protect their eyes from the ash, as well as create an evacuation plan for use if necessary. The previous large eruption at Ubinas came in 2019, resulting in thousands of people being displaced. While Ubinas has been erupting regularly since 1550, one of the most dramatic incidents came in 2006 after several decades of relative dormancy. That eruption blanketed the region with ash, prompting evacuations and killing livestock with its toxic emissions. On more stories, jailed ex-Georgian leader in bad health condition. Georgia's imprisoned ex-president Mikhail Saakashvili appeared frail and extremely emaciated via video link at a court hearing considering an abuse of power case against him. Saakashvili and his supporters claim he has been poisoned while in prison and that he now weighs about 60 kg, half of what he weighed when he was arrested in October 2021. According to reports from a private clinic where he was being held, he told the court on Monday that despite his poor health, he was spiritually fit and determined to serve the country. Saakashvili, 55, lifted his shirt to show his ribs protruding from his chest, a whole abdomen and skin clinging tightly to his bones. The former president is being held at a civilian hospital where he was transferred last year after staging a 50-day hunger strike to protest his detention. "Putting me in jail will not break me. I'm going to be actively involved in Georgian politics," he said. He has served as Georgia's president from 2004 to 2013 and led the so-called Rose Revolution protest that drove the former president out of office, left for Ukraine after the end of his second term. He holds Ukrainian citizenship and was the governor of Odessa region in 2015 to 2016. After leaving Georgia, Saakashvili was convicted in absentia for abuse of power and sentenced to 6 years in prison. He was arrested in October 2021 after returning to Georgia to try to strengthen opposition forces before nationwide municipal elections. The ex-leader is now on trial on charges of abuse of office connected to the violent dispersal of an opposition rally in 2007. Doctors have said Saakashvili risks of dying from conditions he developed while in custody, though Georgian authorities say he is being given adequate medical care. His brother, David Saakashvili, said the ex-president was continuing to lose weight, was at risk of dying and might have been poisoned. The family says he's not receiving proper medical treatment. In the shores of Africa, President Macky Sall rules out third-term bid. On Monday, Macky Sall, Senegal's president, ended months of tense uncertainty by saying he will not seek a third term next year, clearing the way for open elections in the West African nation, long considered a bastion of democracy in the troubled region. Sall has until now remained coy about his ambitions, triggering tensions over whether he will use a constitutional revision to argue he could extend the country's traditional two-term maximum. "My dear fellow citizens, my decision after long consideration is to not be a candidate in the election on February 25, 2024, Sall said in a televised address. "Senegal is more than me and is full of capable leaders for the country's development," he said, adding that he had sought to prioritize his country's progress, in particular at a time of socio-economic difficulties and uncertainties. On the eve of Sall's nationwide address, his fiercest critic, Ousmane Sonko, has urged the public to come out en masse and oppose him. Deadly crisis erupted last month between Sonko supporters and the security forces, claiming at least 16 lives. The turbulence tarnished Senegal's image as a beacon of stability in West Africa, a region notorious for coups and civil war. Sall, 61, was first elected in 2012 for a 7-year term and again in 2019 for a 7-year term, following a constitutional revision of the presidential tenure. The constitution specifies that a president cannot serve over 2 terms, but Sall's supporters had urged the counter had been reset to 0 thanks to the 2016 revision. Sall had formally campaigned against a 3rd term by his predecessor, Abdoulaye Wade, who was in power from 2000 to 2012, and had said he would not seek re-election, bucking the continent's trend of entrenched strongmen leaders. But he had not nominated a political successor and in recent months has been bashful about another term, a position that has caused tensions. Let's take a quick break, and when I come back, I'll bring you stories from Nigeria. You're welcome back. Thanks for staying with us. If you're just joining us, it's Global News and Zumo Nigeria. And we begin with Tinubu urges service chiefs to work as a team. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has ordered the recently appointed service chiefs to work as a team to boost the security situation in the country. Nuhu Ribadu, National Security Advisor, NSA, revealed this on Monday following the president's first meeting with all the service chiefs at the State House in Abuja. Ribadu also conveyed Tinubu's assurances to the service chiefs whom he appointed on June 19, 2023, of his resolute support, report said. He also said the service chiefs promised their loyalty to the president and Nigerians while underlining their commitment to work tirelessly to secure the country. According to the NSA, the president made the right choices in the selection of all the service chiefs while he anticipates them to deliver on their responsibilities very quickly. Ribadu said, and I quote, "We are here to thank Mr. President for the opportunity he gave us to serve our country and to serve his own government. We also pledged our loyalty to him, to Nigeria and Nigerians. We believe that the choice he made is the right one, the correct one, and we know what he wants for this country. We are going to work tirelessly to ensure that we accomplish that objective of securing our country, establishing peace, stability, and let's get our lives back." where we are today, and you can see already things are improving in our country. If you see the record of crimes and activities of criminals are going down, it will continue to go down. We will secure this place, he said. Nigerians have seen the quality of the people that are given opportunity. They are probably some of the best we have, and they are not going to fail you. They will certainly deliver. Thank you very much. In attendance at the first security meeting with Tinubu, were the Chief of Defense Staff, Major General C.G. Musa, the Chief of Army Staff, Major General T.A. Lagbaja, and the Chief of Naval Staff, Rear Admiral E.A. Gala. Others in attendance at the presidential villa in Aso Rock in Abuja were the Chief of Air Defense, AVM HB Abubakar, and the Inspector General of Police, Kayode Agbe-Tokun. And still on the news, 2023 Polls Tribunal acknowledges EU's report. Yesterday, the Presidential Election Petition Court, PREPEC, preceded by Justice Haruna Samani, admitted in evidence the final reports of the European Union Election Observer Mission EOB on the 2023 general election. The report presented by the candidate of the People's Democratic Party PDP in the February 25th presidential election, Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, was admitted amidst objections from the Independent National Electoral Commission INEC, President Bola Tinubu and his party, the All Progressives Congress APC, who are first, second and third respondents respectively in the petition filed by Atiku and his party, the PDP. Yesterday, this emerged just as INEC failed to open its defense in the petition of Mr. Peter Obi challenging the election of Tinubu. The EU EOB report tendered by Atiku's lead lawyer, Chief Chris Uche, who pointed out that the report indicted the electoral umpire for failing to keep its promise of a transparent, free and fair elections. Uche drew the court's attention to a paragraph of the report which stated that only 31% of the presidential election results were uploaded onto the IRF as at when INEC announced Tinubu winner, showing the deficiency in the training of INEC's ad hoc staff. He tendered the EU's report at the resumed hearing in the petition of Atiku, challenging the declaration of Tinubu as winner of the February 25th presidential election. On June 23rd, the court had adjourned for the respondents to open their defense in the petition, seeking to nullify Tinubu's victory over alleged irregularities, corrupt practices, and non-compliance with the electoral laws, amongst others. Atiku had, before closing his case, brought in 27 witnesses, including experts and INEC's ad hoc staff, who corroborated his allegations that INEC intentionally wrote the election process, especially the handling of the technological aspects supposed to have improved the credibility of the 2023 general elections. Amongst the allegations were that INEC intentionally refused to transmit the presidential election results electronically as assured, as presiding officers in their individual testimonies confirmed that they could not transmit the presidential election results in the bimodal verification accreditation system BVAS machines to the INEC's results viewing IRF portals as anticipated. The witnesses had also informed the 5-member panel that they had to take the results to their various wards for onward transmission by their superiors. The preceding officers had blamed their inability to transmit the presidential results on some technical glitches, although they could not tell if the glitch occurred within the BVAS or network of transmission to the IRF. At Monday's proceedings, however, INEC called its only witness in the case filed by Atiku, its Director of Information Technology IT, Dr. Lawrence Bayode, who informed the court how the technical glitch was handled at their CloudTree log downloaded from their accounts with the Amazon Web Service, AWS. And finally on the news, Tinubu promises improved business climate. President Bola Tinubu yesterday vowed that the business community of his government's commitment to policy consistency and better climate to attract investment. He gave the assurance while receiving a delegation from Shell Petroleum Development Company, SPDC, led by the Global Upstream Director Zoe Yudnovich at the State House in Abuja. The president welcomed the oil multinational's offer for more investments in the Nigerian oil and gas sector, adding that the step was needed now more than ever to allow government meet its obligations. He recalled that attracting fresh investment was a promise he made personally to Nigerians. Whatever it takes, I will fulfill that promise to Nigerians, Tinubu said. He reiterated that Nigeria is prepared for business, assuring the Shell management and other investors of his administration's willingness to maintain an open-door policy and address their fears. The The president said his government was dismantling bottlenecks to make sure Nigeria becomes an attractive investment destination. Earlier, Yuchnovej, who assumed office on July 1st this year, commended what she described as incredibly strong start of the Tinubu presidency and expressed optimism that the bold steps taken by the government will restore Nigeria's pride of place as an investment destination. She said SPDC was willing to improve investment in the country, especially in the areas of gas and deep water assets, by pumping in billions of dollars. The team leader noted that the most populous black nation remains a major investment country for her organization, considering the long history between the two entities and the prospects held by Nigeria's oil and gas sector. Yuchnovej has been a member of the Shell Executive Committee since 2021. Yesterday's meeting, which also had Group Chief Executive Officer GCEO of the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, NNPCL, Mele Kyari, in attendance, is the president's first engagement since resuming office after the Salah festivities and his foreign trips to France on June 20th and London on June 24th. The summit, it was gathered, is part of ongoing consultations with leaders from the oil and gas sector since his administration got on board. The First Citizen had earlier interacted with ExxonMobil executive Mr. Liam Malone, Mr. Richard Liang, and Mrs. Adesua Dozie at the presidential villa. He also met other major figures from the oil-rich Niger Delta region, including former Managing Director of the Niger Delta Development Commission, NDDC, Timi Alaibe, and one-time Director General of the Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency, NIMASA, Dr. Dakuku Peterside. To refresh our memories, Egypt, Turkey appoint envoys to restore ties. Several evacuate Jenin as Israeli attack persists. Thailand says one Noor appointed as Speaker. U.S. condemns Hong Kong bounty for exile activists, and Ubina's volcano triggers state of emergency in Peru. That's all on the news. Thanks for watching. I am Lois Dureki. Enjoy the rest of your day.